What is constructivism in education?
Constructivism is a learning theory stating that learners actively construct their own understanding and knowledge through experiences, rather than passively receiving information.
Who is considered the founder of cognitive constructivism?
Jean Piaget is considered the founder of cognitive constructivism, emphasizing that children build knowledge through interaction with their environment.
What are Piaget's 4 stages of cognitive development?
Sensoromotor, 0 to 2 years, pre-operational, 2 to 7 years, concrete operational, 7 to 11 years, and formal operational, 11 plus years.
What is assimilation in Piaget's theory?
Assimilation is the process of incorporating new information into existing cognitive schemas without changing the schema itself.
What is accommodation in Piaget's theory?
Accommodation is the process of modifying existing schemas or creating new ones in response to new information that doesn't fit current understanding.
What is equilibration according to Piaget?
Equilibration is the self-regulatory process by which learners balance assimilation and accommodation to achieve cognitive stability.
What is social constructivism?
Social constructivism holds that knowledge is co-constructed through social interaction and cultural contexts, building on the ideas of Vygotsky.
How does social constructivism differ from Piaget's cognitive constructivism?
Social constructivism emphasizes collaborative learning and cultural tools, while Piaget's cognitive constructivism focuses on individual cognitive development through personal exploration.
What is behaviorism in education?
Behaviorism is a learning theory that focuses on observable behaviors and the ways they are learned through conditioning, rather than internal mental states.
Who is B.F. Skinner and what is his contribution to education?
B.F. Skinner developed the theory of operant conditioning, showing that behavior can be shaped through reinforcement and punishment.
What is operant conditioning?
Operant conditioning is a learning process in which behavior is modified by its consequences. Reinforcements increase behavior, punishments decrease it.
What is the difference between positive and negative reinforcement?
Positive reinforcement adds a desirable stimulus to increase behavior. Negative reinforcement removes an aversive stimulus to increase behavior.
What is classical conditioning and who developed it?
Classical conditioning, developed by Ivan Pavlov, is a learning process where a neutral stimulus becomes associated with a meaningful stimulus to elicit a conditioned response.
Give an example of classical conditioning in a classroom.
A student who had a negative experience during a math test may feel anxiety, conditioned response, whenever they see a math test paper, conditioned stimulus.
What is a schedule of reinforcement?
A schedule of reinforcement is a rule that determines when and how often a behavior is reinforced, such as fixed ratio, fixed interval, or variable interval.
What is Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, ZPD?
The ZPD is the gap between what a learner can do independently and what they can achieve with guidance from a more knowledgeable other.
Who was Lev Vygotsky?
Lev Vygotsky was a Russian psychologist who emphasized the role of social interaction and culture in cognitive development, best known for the ZPD concept.
What is a more knowledgeable other, MKO, in Vygotsky's theory?
An MKO is anyone who has a higher level of understanding than the learner on a particular task, such as a teacher, peer, or even a computer program.
How is scaffolding related to the ZPD?
Scaffolding provides temporary support within a learner's ZPD, gradually removed as the learner gains competence, enabling independent mastery.
What is growth mindset?
Growth mindset, proposed by Carol Dweck, is the belief that intelligence and abilities can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence.
What is fixed mindset according to Carol Dweck?
A fixed mindset is the belief that intelligence and talent are static, innate traits that cannot be significantly changed through effort.
How does praising effort differ from praising intelligence in Dweck's research?
Praising effort encourages a growth mindset and resilience, while praising intelligence fosters a fixed mindset and avoidance of challenges.
What is intrinsic motivation?
Intrinsic motivation is the drive to engage in an activity for its own sake because it is inherently interesting, enjoyable, or satisfying.
What is extrinsic motivation?
Extrinsic motivation is the drive to perform an activity in order to obtain an external reward or avoid a punishment, rather than for the activity itself.
What is the overjustification effect?
The overjustification effect occurs when external rewards undermine intrinsic motivation, causing a person to lose interest in an activity they previously enjoyed.
How can teachers foster intrinsic motivation in students?
Teachers can foster intrinsic motivation by offering autonomy, relevance, choice, and optimal challenge while minimizing controlling external rewards.
What is metacognition?
Metacognition is thinking about one's own thinking, the awareness and regulation of one's cognitive processes, including planning, monitoring, and evaluating learning.
What are the two main components of metacognition?
The two components are metacognitive knowledge, what you know about your own cognition, and metacognitive regulation, how you control your cognitive processes.
Why is metacognition important for learners?
Metacognition helps learners become self-directed, enabling them to identify effective strategies, monitor comprehension, and adjust their approach when needed.
Give an example of a metacognitive strategy.
A student pausing after reading a paragraph to ask themselves, "Did I understand that?" and rereading if necessary is using metacognitive monitoring.
What is Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences?
Gardner proposed that intelligence is not a single general ability but consists of at least 8 distinct intelligences, each representing different ways of processing information.
Name 4 of Gardner's multiple intelligences.
Linguistic, logical, mathematical, musical, and bodily kinesthetic are 4 of Gardner's 8 intelligences.
What are the other 4 of Gardner's multiple intelligences?
Spatial, interpersonal, and naturalistic intelligence.
How can teachers apply multiple intelligences theory in the classroom?
Teachers can design lessons that engage diverse modalities such as music, movement, visuals, group work, and reflection to reach learners with different intelligence strengths.
What is dyslexia?
Dyslexia is a specific learning disability characterized by difficulty with accurate and fluent word recognition, poor spelling, and decoding abilities, despite adequate intelligence.
What is ADHD and how does it affect learning?
ADHD, attention deficit/hyperactivity disorder, is a neurodevelopmental condition affecting attention, impulse control, and activity levels, which can impair focus and academic performance.
What is dyscalculia?
Dyscalculia is a specific learning disability that affects a person's ability to understand numbers, math facts, and mathematical reasoning.
What classroom accommodations help students with dyslexia?
Helpful accommodations include audiobooks, extra time on tests, multisensory reading instruction, and the use of assistive technology like text-to-speech tools.
What strategies support students with ADHD in the classroom?
Effective strategies include structured routines, frequent breaks, clear instructions, preferential seating, and breaking tasks into smaller steps.
What is social-emotional learning, SEL?
SEL is the process through which students develop skills in self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making.
What are the 5 core competencies of SEL according to Casel?
The 5 competencies are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making.
Why is SEL important in schools?
SEL improves academic achievement, reduces behavioral problems, and promotes positive mental health and prosocial behavior in students.
How can SEL be integrated into academic instruction?
Teachers can integrate SEL through cooperative learning, class discussions about emotions, conflict resolution activities, and modeling empathetic communication.
What is the Montessori method?
The Montessori method, developed by Maria Montessori, is a child-centered educational approach emphasizing self-directed activity, hands-on learning, and collaborative play.
What are key principles of Montessori education?
Key principles include mixed-age classrooms, student choice of activity, uninterrupted work periods, and specially designed learning materials.
What role does the teacher play in a Montessori classroom?
In Montessori, the teacher acts as a guide or facilitator who observes children and prepares the environment rather than delivering direct instruction.
What is the prepared environment in Montessori education?
The prepared environment is a carefully organized classroom designed to promote independence and exploration, with accessible, developmentally appropriate materials.
What is cognitive load theory?
Cognitive load theory, developed by John Sweller, describes how the limited capacity of working memory affects learning and instructional design.
What are the 3 types of cognitive load?
The 3 types are intrinsic, complexity of the material, extraneous, poor instructional design, and germane, effort devoted to learning and schema building.
How can teachers reduce extraneous cognitive load?
Teachers can reduce extraneous load by eliminating unnecessary information, using clear visuals, integrating text with diagrams, and avoiding split attention effects.
What is the split attention effect in cognitive load theory?
The split attention effect occurs when learners must mentally integrate multiple sources of information that are physically or temporally separated, increasing extraneous load.
What are Erikson's stages of psychosocial development?
Erik Erikson proposed 8 stages of development, each defined by a psychosocial conflict, from trust versus mistrust in infancy to integrity versus despair in late adulthood.
Which Erikson stage is most relevant to elementary-age children?
Industry versus inferiority, ages 6 to 12, where children develop a sense of competence through mastering skills and receiving encouragement.
Which Erikson stage is most relevant to adolescence?
Identity versus role confusion, ages 12 to 18, where teenagers explore different roles and develop a sense of personal identity.
How can teachers support students in Erikson's industry versus inferiority stage?
Teachers can provide meaningful tasks, positive feedback, and opportunities for mastery to help students build confidence and avoid feelings of inferiority.
What is Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Maslow's hierarchy is a motivational theory with 5 levels: physiological, safety, love/belonging, esteem, and self-actualization, arranged from basic to higher-order needs.
How does Maslow's hierarchy apply to education?
Students cannot focus on higher-order learning if their basic needs, food, safety, belonging, are unmet. Schools must address the whole child to enable academic success.
What does self-actualization mean in Maslow's framework?
Self-actualization is the realization of one's full potential, creativity, and personal growth, the highest level of Maslow's hierarchy.
How can schools address students' safety needs according to Maslow?
Schools can create predictable routines, anti-bullying policies, and supportive relationships to ensure students feel physically and emotionally safe.
What is self-determination theory, SDT?
SDT, developed by Deci and Ryan, proposes that people are motivated when 3 basic psychological needs are met: autonomy, competence, and relatedness.
What is autonomy in self-determination theory?
Autonomy is the need to feel in control of one's own behavior and goals, experiencing a sense of choice and volition in learning activities.
What is competence in self-determination theory?
Competence is the need to feel effective and capable when interacting with the environment and mastering tasks.
What is relatedness in self-determination theory?
Relatedness is the need to feel connected to others, experiencing a sense of belonging and warm relationships with peers and teachers.
How can teachers support autonomy in the classroom?
Teachers can support autonomy by offering meaningful choices, minimizing controlling language, and explaining the rationale behind tasks.
What is attribution theory in education?
Attribution theory, notably developed by Bernard Wiener, examines how individuals explain the causes of success and failure and how these explanations affect motivation.
What are the three dimensions of causal attributions?
The three dimensions are locus of control, internal versus external, stability, stable versus unstable, and controllability, controllable versus uncontrollable.
How do attributions affect student motivation?
Students who attribute failure to lack of effort, internal, unstable, controllable, are more motivated than those who attribute it to lack of ability, internal, stable, uncontrollable.
What is a maladaptive attribution pattern?
A maladaptive pattern involves attributing success to external, uncontrollable factors, like luck, and failure to internal, stable factors, like low ability, leading to learned helplessness.
What is schema theory?
Schema theory proposes that knowledge is organized into mental frameworks called schemas that help individuals process, store, and retrieve information.
How do schemas affect learning?
Schemas help learners organize new information, make predictions, and fill in gaps, but they can also lead to misconceptions if existing schemas are inaccurate.
What is schema activation in teaching?
Schema activation involves connecting new content to students' prior knowledge, such as using advanced organizers or KWL charts before a lesson.
What happens when new information conflicts with existing schemas?
This creates cognitive dissonance, which can lead to schema modification through accommodation, updating, or restructuring the existing schema.
What is transfer of learning?
Transfer of learning is the application of knowledge or skills learned in one context to new and different situations.
What is the difference between near and far transfer?
Near transfer applies learning to similar contexts, e.g., similar math problems, while far transfer applies learning to very different contexts, e.g., using math and science.
What is positive transfer versus negative transfer?
Positive transfer occurs when prior learning facilitates new learning. Negative transfer occurs when prior learning interferes with new learning.
How can teachers promote transfer of learning?
Teachers can promote transfer by teaching for understanding rather than memorization, using diverse examples, and helping students identify underlying principles.
What is scaffolding in education?
Scaffolding is a teaching strategy that provides temporary, structured support to students as they develop new skills, gradually removed as competence increases.
Who introduced the concept of scaffolding in education?
The term was introduced by Jerome Bruner, David Wood, and Gail Ross, inspired by Vygotsky's ZPD concept.
Give 3 examples of scaffolding techniques.
Examples include modeling a procedure, providing graphic organizers, and offering sentence starters or prompts for writing tasks.
When should scaffolding be removed?
Scaffolding should be gradually faded as the student demonstrates increasing independence and mastery of the skill or concept.
What is the information processing model of learning?
The information processing model compares the mind to a computer, describing how information flows through sensory memory, working memory, and long-term memory.
What is sensory memory in the information processing model?
Sensory memory is the brief, initial recording of sensory information, lasting less than a few seconds, that filters what enters working memory through attention.
What is working memory and what are its limitations?
Working memory is the cognitive system that temporarily holds and manipulates information. It is limited to approximately 7 plus or minus 2 items and lasts about 20 to 30 seconds without rehearsal.
What is long-term memory?
Long-term memory is the relatively permanent storage of information with essentially unlimited capacity, organized into declarative, facts, and procedural, skills, knowledge.
What is encoding in the information processing model?
Encoding is the process of transforming information into a form that can be stored in long-term memory, enhanced by strategies like elaboration and organization.
What are effective rehearsal strategies for long-term retention?
Effective strategies include elaborative rehearsal, connecting new info to existing knowledge, spaced practice, and retrieval practice rather than simple rote repetition.
What is self-efficacy according to Bandura?
Self-efficacy is an individual's belief in their ability to succeed in specific situations or accomplish a task, as defined by Albert Bandura.
What are Bandura's 4 sources of self-efficacy?
The 4 sources are mastery experiences, vicarious experiences, verbal persuasion, and physiological/emotional states.
Why are mastery experiences the most powerful source of self-efficacy?
Mastery experiences provide direct evidence of one's ability to succeed. Past success builds confidence, while repeated failure undermines it.
How do vicarious experiences influence self-efficacy?
Watching similar others succeed at a task raises the observer's belief that they too can succeed, especially when the model is perceived as similar in ability.
How can teachers build students' self-efficacy?
Teachers can build self-efficacy by providing achievable challenges, specific feedback, peer modeling, and helping students manage test anxiety.
What is Bandura's social learning theory?
Bandura's social learning theory states that people learn through observation, imitation, and modeling, not just through direct reinforcement.
What is the concept of reciprocal determinism?
Reciprocal determinism is Bandura's concept that behavior, personal factors, and the environment all interact and influence each other in a continuous cycle.
What is learned helplessness and how does it relate to education?
Learned helplessness occurs when students believe their actions have no effect on outcomes, leading to passivity and disengagement. It is linked to maladaptive attributions.
What is the difference between formative and summative assessment in educational psychology?
Formative assessment monitors learning during instruction to provide ongoing feedback. Summative assessment evaluates learning at the end of a unit or course.
What is Bloom's taxonomy and why is it important?
Bloom's taxonomy is a hierarchical framework of cognitive skills, from remembering to creating, used to design learning objectives that promote higher-order thinking.
What is the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation in self-determination theory?
SDT views motivation on a continuum. Intrinsic motivation is fully autonomous and self-driven, while extrinsic motivation ranges from external regulation to integrated, internalized forms.
What is the spacing effect in learning?
The spacing effect shows that distributing study sessions over time leads to better long-term retention than massing practice into a single session, cramming.
What is the testing effect, retrieval practice?
The testing effect demonstrates that actively recalling information from memory strengthens learning more effectively than simply rereading or reviewing material.
What is cognitive apprenticeship?
Cognitive apprenticeship is a teaching model where experts make thinking processes visible through modeling, coaching, scaffolding, and fading to help learners develop cognitive skills.
How does Piaget's concept of disequilibrium promote learning?
Disequilibrium creates a state of cognitive conflict when new information doesn't fit existing schemas, motivating the learner to accommodate and restructure understanding.